Any guesses into how many days until NFL kickoff?
90.
89, yeah. How'd you know?
Okay.
Because I remembered from 91 a couple days ago.
No, okay.
That's pretty good.
I was going off of, I thought he said, I knew it was 90 something last time we recorded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 89 days, so just under 3 months away. Cheeseheads is here. Kevin is here. And congrats, Kevin, on your Pacers coming back. I think we were good luck or good karma for sending the
that was
super
going
chat.
on. The last time.
Yeah.
Sunk the game-winning shot there right at the end, near the end of the podcast. So
no, it was we ended. It was like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, so it was.
Oops. Okay.
It was shortly after that, yeah. But yeah, we're here, just kind of talking. Any questions you guys got? Leave them in the chat. We got some trades to discuss. One of the news items we didn't talk about was the Lions losing their center, and they also lost one of their guards, right? One of their better guards this last season. So is there worry with the Lions and their offensive line? Or would you say no there, since you're the
I think it's going to have. I think losing Ragnow, the center, is a little bit of I'd say it's an impact, but they drafted a guard last year. They drafted 2 guards this year. A guy named Graham Glasgow, who was, I think, their left guard last year, has played center. So, but you're losing. Pro Football Focus's number 1 run blocking center. You don't tell me that doesn't have some impact. Yeah, it's gonna. So
yeah, now they have the 32nd ranked run blocking or center according to
Glasgow.
No, I'm saying now they do, because he retired.
Well.
So it's basically because he's Tate Ratledge is who they have as the center. So is that
that's the rookie shit.
Yeah, so that's why.
This might be a stupid question, but so are guys? So I know there's different positions on the O line, but is center a designated position?
Like on PFF, yeah.
Okay, so there is only 32 of them. There's no backups. Like this guy couldn't be like the 34th or 50th ranked center.
Well, they were just ranking like the top 32 by the team. Yeah, but I mean, usually by the end of the season, you have like 40 or 45. Because guys get hurt and stuff. So
yeah,
and centers come in. Yeah, so yeah, you can, at the end of the season, be ranked.
There's all sorts of
34th or 35th or whatever.
Yeah,
stories about Ragnow here the last couple of years, and they talk about injuries and playing through injuries. One of them was a couple of years ago. He had a fractured throat, and I guess it was.
How do you even do that?
How does it do that? You get nailed.
No, but I mean, like. I don't know. I always think a fracture is like a bone. I don't know.
Well, like you can have fractured nose, but that's no bone. That's all cartilage. And
yeah, true.
I don't know. He had a toe injury. He had a knee problem. Last year he had the pec muscle problem. So the guy's 2 years ago, he signed the highest contract, in a center for a center, and then how that works. And 2 years later, he's not the highest paid one anymore. So I don't know. There's all sorts of BS speculation that goes out on this, and then I'm sure it all means something.
Yeah, they got a brutal schedule. Just looking at it,
I don't even that stuff changes To me, you look at it now, you go, it's a brutal schedule in June. It's just like you guys say, one of you guys say, hey, you're not setting the fantasy lineup for another couple of months. Well, you're not playing football for a couple of months.
That was Mike.
You know
Mike
how the
Mike
schedule's
does it like that.
shake out. And I'm sure because they were the top team in the NFC and they won the NFC North, that the Lions, they got to play the better teams.
I mean, yeah, I get that you can't predict it, but it doesn't change that much. Like I know it changes, but I mean,
it does.
Packers,
but you're right.
Packers, Bears, Ravens to start off the season. And then you get Browns, Bengals, Chiefs, Bucks, Vikings, Commanders, Eagles.
Oh, those
Packers
teams all
again.
suck.
Packers again. Rams are in there. Steelers, we'll see. I don't know. It's a lot of tough teams there.
You know what I just heard from that?
Man.
I just heard that draft Lions players because they sound like they're going to be in some competitive games with a lot of points scored.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It could be competitive, low-scoring games. You just never know.
Fuck that.
Yeah, their defense has improved or should improve with a bunch of guys coming back as well. So, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because
I mean, this is a little, slightly skewed anyways because they have to play Green Bay and Minnesota, but they're playing 11 games against teams that were in the playoffs last year.
And that's the way it kind of should be.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Chargers, I'm just using them as an example. They were in the playoffs, so they should, I don't even know what their schedule is, but I know they got to play Kansas City twice and Denver and twice and, and stuff like that. So teams that are in the playoffs should be playing other teams that were in the playoffs.
Yeah, they have a unique one because they start the first 3 weeks with divisional opponents. So I think that's a little unique. That doesn't happen very often. Mr. Magic's here. I said, who do you think is the number one dark horse player at every position, man?
I'll give you a quarterback.
Well, wait, real quick. So do you mean like
fantasy?
No, I know he means fantasy, but like what do you mean by this? Like ranked outside of dark horse to finish number 1 overall, or like a guy ranked in like outside the top 30 or 40 who could be a number 1 player? So, but yeah, go ahead and tell us your QB.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Justin Fields. I just think he's gonna. I know you're gonna go. Oh well, everybody's saying that, but I think he's going to be better than
yeah,
he was.
Of course. I just don't know if he's like a dark horse to like, I don't know.
All right,
I'm trying to figure out what his ADP is.
I know that would actually be helpful. Okay, so unexpected.
Then Justin Fields would be. So he's finishing number 1 overall, is what he's saying.
Oh boy, well that's not Justin Fields.
No, I don't know. I think Justin Fields.
It is. Yeah. Like, and again, we're not talking like Josh Allen is not a dark horse. Like we're talking guys that are drafted later. That I think Fields is potentially a dark horse. Like more so than anyone else in that range, in my opinion. So Drake May, to me, is a dark horse. To finish number 1.
Yeah.
Overall.
I mean, it's got to be a running quarterback because everyone else who can, what do you have to do to finish number 1 overall? You got to throw for, 5,045 or something without rushing.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a running guy or a known commodity at that point. Not necessarily, but.
Do you know the last non-rushing really rushing quarterback to finish number 1 overall in points per game?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about that Mahomes second rookie year, the second year after, you know what I'm saying?
His
Number
first year
2
after
year.
his rookie.
Yeah, that one. The first year he started every week.
Well, he was number 1 overall in 2022, but he wasn't points per game. Jalen Hurts was. Dak in 2020 was number 1 overall, but he played in only 5 games. So I don't know if you count that. I keep going back, and I don't know. Yeah, it would have been Mahomes in 2018. So, yeah. So we'll get to that, Kevin, in just a second. Yeah, I definitely think like Fields is in there. I mean, Richardson if he plays, but I don't know. That's looking more and more bleak every single day.
Yeah, he just got hurt again.
Yeah, it's not looking good for him. I'd say Drake May is a dark horse just because of his rushing ability. I wouldn't put. I mean, obviously it's a dark horse. So I mean, non-rushing guys. Is there any like non-rushing guys in that range you think?
Yeah. So I was like, let's make it a little more interesting. I don't know about number 1 overall.
Let's say like top 3.
Yeah, well, way higher than where they're being drafted. I'm just looking at Fantasy Pros actual ADP. And, Trevor's going number 19 overall. I think that could be an interesting one. And it'll be interesting to see what McCarthy does. Ranked at 22, given the system and everything like that. And honestly, even a dude who's right in between him is, Tua. It's like we've seen him be the passing leader in a given year a couple of years ago. So I think those three can what?
I was gonna say if we approach it from like a top 3, top 5 type of player, I mean, I definitely think Lawrence could potentially sneak in there. I don't think Tua can just because he's not going to run at all. McCarthy's kind of a wild card.
Yeah.
Caleb, definitely. I mean, he's being drafted as a top 12 guy already, but I think he could have a season of finishing top 3 or something because he can also run the ball a little bit like we saw it last year. I think he had a decent per game, 28 almost 30 yards per game, which is a lot more than actually I thought. So he almost rushed for 500 yards last year, but you would assume he rushes for a little bit less because, a lot of that came off of like scrambling and holding on to the ball too long and stuff. So, Cam Ward. No. Yeah. Running backs.
I was going to say that's a pretty good list already.
Yeah. Any running backs like dark horse top 5 seasons who are kind of way down there without injury, that is?
Way down there, meaning how far down should I look? I mean, I see Pacheco sitting here at 26. It's like, I think I need to go a little further than that, though. But would we really be surprised if Pacheco finishes top 3, top 5?
I would. Yeah, I would. Top 3, top 5. Yeah,
I'd be shocked as hell.
Yeah, I don't know. Just given the offense, and he's basically, he could easily just have that role again and be healthy. I don't know. So he is the dark horse then.
Are you talking PPR or I guess
I'm just looking at half PPR ranking draft ranking.
What do you think Pacheco's best season points per game is, or total points, whatever you want to do?
I don't know.
So I'm looking.
I think last year he was off to a hot start and he came back not himself. I mean, didn't he break his leg last year?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Week 2 or 3.
Yeah, so it's hard to judge like what he was. So he averaged basically like 14, just over 14 half PPR points per game the first 2 weeks, and then he got hurt. So I think 2023, he's only been in the league a few years, but 2023 is his best year. He was RB 15 in points per game, and I think after like week 3 or 4, he kind of took over a little bit and he was a little bit better. I don't know. Top 5, I think it's a kind of I just don't think their offense is ever going to allow for it. They do too many funky things at the goal line. They don't just hand the ball off to one guy. I think,
they give it to Kareem Hunt.
I think the rookie Rashard Smith is going to be kind of like the third down guy potentially. So I just think Pacheco's catches are really limited. Like he'll catch probably 30 to 40 if he has that role again, but I don't think he ever gets over like really much more over 40. Maybe he gets to like 45, but so yeah, I guess he is a dark horse for you, right? Kenneth Walker.
I'm not going to go make a bet on it or anything.
Yeah, no, that's why it's a dark horse. Kenneth Walker, I mean, to be number 1 overall, I think is a dark horse for me.
What? He's ranked 16th. That doesn't count.
To be number 1 overall?
All right.
For me, he's 17. I'm looking at guys like, if you're drafting someone as like RB 17, I think that's fair to say number 1 overall dark horse. Like no one's expecting these guys to be number 1 overall, in my opinion. Like I stopped that at like right around Brees, I guess. Right in those ranges there.
And Kamara with 120 catches.
Yeah, right. Javonte, number 1 overall, season coming now.
I know. I was looking at him too. Are you looking at the rankings, Dad?
He's not even listening.
What's that?
I said, are you looking at rankings?
Rankings?
Yeah.
ADP.
No, but
who's dark horse for you?
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is top 5. I think there'll be a rookie in the top 5.
Well, Genty couldn't be a dark horse because he's being drafted as like a top 5 guy already. So, are you saying a rookie outside of Genty is going to be in the top 5?
No.
Okay.
He'd be one of them. And the only thing
he's being drafted as a top 5 guy.
Yeah, and he'd be the one because
tell me besides Genty, which rookie would you say has top 5 potential?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say Hampton because of the Najee factor, and I think RJ Harvey is going to be very relevant in the passing game. So Harvey.
Yeah. It's basically, I kind of agree with you about Hampton. Mr. Magic thinks he could be number 1. I don't see it just because of Najee. Najee does too many things that coaches like, that they're going to use him. They're going to run the hell out of the ball, but I think both. I think it's more likely we see a Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon 2020 season from Hampton and Najee than we do Hampton number 1 overall. So, unfortunately. But obviously, if Najee gets hurt,
Najee doesn't get hurt though. So
until he does, yeah. I kind of agree. RJ Harvey, Travion Henderson is an interesting one in PPR. But that's another one where I'm not sure like what kind of usage he's going to get. Any wide receivers that we like? I don't.
Are we still going with number 1 overall?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do like top 5. I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, just one of those two. I think that's what he's kind of getting at.
The old guys, Adams and Hill. Yeah,
for sure.
But that's not that exciting to talk about. We know what the hell those guys can do.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding.
There's no chance.
What do you guys?
Metcalf.
You guys think? Yeah, I know. I was looking at Metcalf, and even honestly, I wonder what does it look like if Rashee Rice just plays all games and he's as good as he started off last year. You know, like if he just has that role. You know, That could be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Just given the offense and the number of catches like he'll get or could get,
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get to see Bryce, Worthy, Kelsey all together. Now you got Hollywood Brown. I always forget Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
He's on the team.
Yeah. Super small
rookie.
sample size for sure. But I mean, 24 catches in 3 games to start the year and 2 touchdowns. Now, if you extrapolate that, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it'd be insane.
Yeah.
Metcalf for sure. Like I could easily see him being top 5, top 3, number 1 overall. Like I think he has a massive year. And then Mr. Magic says Ridley. I don't know about Ridley being top 5, but I think he's gonna be really, really good given where you can get him at, like wide receiver. I would be shocked if Ridley is not in the top 30 at worst, like his worst case scenario. If he's healthy all year, I'd be pretty shocked. So it feels like a little bit Terry McLaurin last year for us. Are we real quick, because Kevin asked this a while ago? Yeah, we don't think Flacco's starting all year. If we get like 10 games from Flacco, we're pretty happy. Which is,
I think, just it depends on how he plays.
Yeah, they have to be winning for sure.
Yeah. So
it's not even how he plays; it's more about how the team plays, right?
Well, yeah, and the defense is going to be a big part of that. But I mean, I think it's definitely possible. But I guess that's not really what he's asking. Like, do we think it's going to happen? Not necessarily, but
honestly, I want 10 games. 10 games
I mean,
from Flacco.
Especially for fantasy.
Yeah, and your first 10 weeks, that's a significant part of your fantasy regular season. So, Judy is definitely one of those as well. Like if Flacco plays all year, I think Judy could be a top 12. I think his floor is like top 20, and he could easily be top 12 and beyond, like Judy could. There's just not much competition there. Like it's Cedric Tillman is number 2. Really, it's like probably Njoku is number 2. Then you got Tillman, Deontay Johnson. Like I'm not super worried about those guys. I mean, they could do something, but I'm not that worried about them taking too much. You don't even have like a really like elite pass catching running back. So it's like kind of wheels up for Judy, in my opinion. So, and then tight ends. Let's see here.
Brenton Strange at 32. He could finish. Yeah, he can finish top 12.
I'm seeing.
I don't know 19. Why. What's that?
I'm seeing him at 19. I'm on PPR, but I can't imagine there's that much of a difference between.
I don't know. I'm on half. I don't know. Let's see if I switch over.
I see 21 for half.
Yeah, I don't know. Fantasy football draft rankings 2025. I don't know.
Oh, you're doing the rankings? Okay. I'm looking at ADP.
Yeah, I guess that's not good.
I've
been looking at the wrong list.
He's still low, 21. Fryermuth. Yeah, Fryermuth. Yeah, Judy 100%. I just made the video about him. It's just like, yeah, if anyone's not valuing him as like a potential top 24 wide receiver, you should definitely be buying him, in my opinion. So
what's the most you're paying for him in this year's rookie picks if you haven't drafted yet?
Let's see here.
I think 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, I'd do 2 seconds for him. I would do probably a late first if I felt like I was contending, and I would be okay with that. Like, would I want Matthew Golden on a contending team, Matthew Golden or Jerry Jeudy? I think I'd just go with Jerry Jeudy. So
sure.
He's 26 years old still. He just turned 26, by the way. So this is his age 26 season. We saw the breakout, and we've seen, like, it's not like he was just a complete bust before that. Like, we saw a couple of decent. He had a good rookie year, a decent third year, and so I think I would be fine with like a late first. Couple seconds is fine too. What about you, Dad? Would you trade a late first for Judy, a late first in this year's draft? Let's say you're going to draft like Matthew Golden or who else is
Ibuka.
going? Ibuka or Jerry Judy. One of those two or Judy.
Yeah,
on a contending team.
I think I would take Judy.
On a contending team, yeah.
Yeah. Ibuka, Ibuka, I don't know. Top 5 tight ends. Okay. No, Judy. I was just reading the
Yeah, I think Judy could be really damn good. But if you told that there is a little bit of risk in there that they could go with Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. So I guess that's
where things definitely drop a little bit.
Yeah. So that's where like the risk is baked in. I'm fine with taking the risk of like a late first for him. And he could still be decent there. Top 5 tight ends. Again, Mr. Magic's a redraft player, so this is for redraft. I mean, it's definitely Bowers, McBride, Kittle, and then probably Laporta Hawkinson, right? Is there anyone else that sneaks in there? Kelsey?
Yeah, Kelsey. I think
would you take
I'm kind of curious, like what Mark Andrews is going to do this year again. Like I wonder how much that car accident. Like I don't remember there really being like an injury related to that specifically.
Well, he also broke his leg the year before.
Yeah, so I don't know. Obviously, like he finished well on the back of touchdowns, but I mean that is part of his game. Not quite necessarily that many that he had last year, but I don't know. I think there's plenty of opportunity in a low passing offense, for him. So I think he can sneak in there pretty easily. But if I'm actually like ranking them how I would draft them, yeah, I think it's basically those 5 guys.
Yeah, there is conversation with maybe Kelsey. No, I think it's those 5. Yeah,
Kelsey had almost 100 catches. I mean, he was down on touchdowns. He only had 3. He had 97 catches. I mean, if those were 6 touchdowns, I think we'd be talking a little different, So
yeah, there's a little bit. Someone was talking about how like Kelsey's first 2 games, and that's when Rashee Rice was healthy. Was a bust the first 2 weeks. He had 7 targets, 4 catches, and so people are kind of speculating, does Rashee Rice really affect Kelsey? And then when Rice gets hurt, we see kind of Kelsey go off, and then he fades a little bit. Like in the second half of the season, he was definitely really good in the middle. And then even the playoffs, like he had the big first game, but he didn't do a whole lot in the next 2 games. He had 6 catches, about 60 yards. The next for the conference championship and the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think guys like him who were just like the easy de facto number 1 guys for so long, and they continue to be drafted relatively like that. It's so easy for them to be bust and still be good.
Any worries on not worries about Bowers, but like I feel like to get Bowers, you're either, if you really want him, you're either gonna have to take him middle of the first, like pick 6 through 8, or you got to be on the ends, like you got to be in 9 through 12, and hopefully you get him in the second round or late first. Is there worries about him not maybe living up? And the reason I'm saying that is just because like their pass rate last year was actually kind of insane. I think they were like top 5 in pass attempts, the Raiders, and I would be shocked if that's what they are. With Pete Carroll and Genty and stuff like that this year.
I honestly think he's going to have another year before I start getting comfortable drafting him where he's going right now. Not that I don't think he could do it, but there's just so much risk, like remember, like Kelsey started sneaking into the first round in drafts, like 2 or 3 years ago. And it was kind of like, cause he made the case for it, where it's like, he's a onesie position. and the dude finishes as like wide receiver 5 basically. So yeah, you take him like 8th overall, like so I think I'd need to see it one more year until that conversation is really happening. But I don't know. I think I'd rather just let's see, where's McBride going? Not too far behind him. I don't know. I don't think I'm drafting one of these guys that early. Not because I don't think they can return on it, but I just feel like I'd be much more comfortable sometime in the early 3rd round.
I'm definitely a little more comfortable with McBride.
Over Bowers.
I think so. If we're talking
value or just straight up.
Whatever you want to call it, I guess comfort for me. I'm not saying Bowers is going to suck or anything else. The Raiders have changed up a bunch of stuff. Coach, running game, quarterback. Arizona has changed nothing, So I would lean on that a little bit. That's and you know what? If I got to take Bowers in the 1st round, I ain't doing it. I'll get McBride in the 2nd round or possibly in the 3rd round.
Yeah. So their ADP right now is Bowers 17th, McBride 24th. Just so you know.
I'm good with that.
So I was looking through Seattle's from 2015 to 2021, right? That's when Pete Carroll got the boot, or is it 2022 maybe? Anyways, the last, basically that 6-7 year stretch there, they're mostly in the bottom half of, in 17 through 32, a couple times in the 20s. One time they were last in pass rate percentage. They were only in the top half twice, and it was barely. It was 13th and 15th or something. So they were never top 10 in pass rate. They were always, kind of middle of the league or bottom of the league. So, and now you got Genty in here. I don't know. It could improve the offense though. He can make up. Okay, he catches however many less passes, but he gets 4 or 5 more touchdowns, right? So it could definitely balance out that way. But at value, I think I'd prefer McBride. So
definitely. And honestly, I'm not really. I mean, I would consider it if I was picking late. I mean, that's kind of what you were saying, right? If you're picking on one of the ends. I don't know. We'll have to see how these boards play out.
Yeah, they just have to do so much, man. Tight ends to really justify taking them there. But I mean, Bowers did it last year. McBride did it last year. So Kittle did it. I mean, So
Laporta actually had a good rookie year. He dropped off a little bit. I don't think it was anything to do with him. It's all within the team confines. A lot of mouths to feed in Detroit. So
the J-Mo rise.
But I mean, when you can get George Kittle, in the middle of the 4th round, you're saving 2 rounds worth of value, I guess. It just seems kind of that's a really big gap there, And obviously Kittle has the same issues he's always had, but we just know how good he is too.
Yeah. Laporta was really good the second half of the season too. He didn't have a touchdown the first 4 weeks, which was the big thing. And then you kind of look from week 8 on, he kind of really came on, missed the game, stuff like that. So I don't know about the big bounce back for Kincaid. I'm not going to take so where's Kincaid going? He's going. Okay, so I would take a risk on him at 140th overall. What's that, round 11 or 12 or something? So I guess it'd be 12. No, 11.
12 would end at 144.
Yeah, so for there is fine. I'm not banking on it though, just because the guy was worse. He had a worse season from rookie to second year when all the, with Stephon Diggs gone and kind of the opportunity there for him. So then it came out, he was injured, all that stuff. Okay. So at where he's going, sure. But if he goes like in the top 10 rounds, I'm probably just out on Kincaid.
Yeah. Well, the other tight ends going right around him, basically all within one round. Tucker Kraft, Colston Loveland, Kincaid, Goddard, Ferguson, and Kyle Pitts, so pick your poison there, like a case can be made for all of these guys, and that's not necessarily going to play out that way. Yeah. What do you guys think Jake Ferguson's situation looks like this year, with Pickens being there now? Like, obviously, he's most likely not going to be the number 2 guy in terms of targets on the team. But who knows what that run game is going to look like either.
Yeah, it's interesting with Ferguson because, like, his stats, per game stats, were very similar to 2023 when we all kind of loved him, exact same receptions per game, 4.2 both years. He was down 8 yards per game, which is significant. But it's just the touchdowns. He had 0 touchdowns. I don't know. It's probably going to – I kind of put him in that boat of guys where it's like, 50 catches, 500 yards is kind of like the floor. And then it's going to depend on, either does he get a little bit more of the target share than we're expecting or touchdowns. So I think he's a fine player. In the range where he's going, I feel like I would just take a shot on guys like Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, just for the upside, assuming I already have like a Tucker Kraft or something, or a little bit more tight end that I also think is going to do the same.
Yeah. So they're all being drafted right around that same range. So you basically have to take 2 in a row, like your 10th and 13th pick or something, which is not a bad strategy, honestly.
Yeah, that's what kind of Mr. Magic's saying. He doesn't like taking tight ends early. I agree. I like the double tap, late in the round 12 and 13 or something. A Jake Ferguson and a Kyle Pitts, Tucker Kraft and a Kincaid or something. And usually that will get me by. Pat Freiermuth, I think, is incredible value. 160. I will probably go up with Rodgers signing. But
there's some news about Kyle Pitts, by the way.
About being traded.
Yeah, possibly Steelers have inquired about him.
God, back with Arthur Smith. Well, then,
to do nothing.
I don't know. So, so stand by.
Yeah.
Stand by.
Hunter Henry, like his stats with Drake May last year were like really damn good. It was like 115 target pace or something. He just didn't get the touchdowns, and that's kind of what we know Hunter Henry for a little bit, is like kind of that touchdown or bust tight end. He's never been like elite touchdown scorer, but he's always been, decent. So I don't know. I think he's an interesting one as well, with like that wide open kind of receiving room. They didn't do a whole lot to bring guys in. So, I kind of agree there, Mr. Magic. What do you guys think of the Chargers wide receiver coach saying QJ is the starter and the rookie wide receivers came in a little out of shape? Any chance QJ breaks out third year like JMO did? No, just because JMO wasn't really on the field. Not that I do, like. I hope he does, like, as a kind of a closet Chargers fan. I think that
a closet Chargers fan.
That's a good question, but I don't think Quentin Johnson and JMO are on the same level.
Well, JMO just didn't play the first 2 years. That's why he didn't break out.
Yeah.
Like, that's not been – like, Johnson's been playing the first 2 years. So I think that's like the major difference. Yeah. I mean, 70% of the snaps last year played in basically every game, and then, 65 his rookie year. So, but I do think, I know a lot of people are excited about Trey Harris and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think, like, follow what the team has done this offseason. This team's going to run the ball 500 times a game. That's just my opinion. Like, between drafting Hampton first round, bringing in Najee, bringing in Mekhi Becton. They're going to run the ball 500 times with those two players and Herbert. And I wouldn't be shocked if, like, we don't really see much of Trey Harris year one. It would not surprise me at all if it's like Mike Williams and Quentin, the player to watch to kind of keep Trey Harris off the field is Mike Williams, right? So like you have Trey Harris and Mike Williams are kind of your outside X wide receiver. Quentin Johnston's going to kind of be that movable piece, and he's going to play more with his looking at the quarterback rather than his back to the quarterback. And then you have, McConkey in the slot. So, I wouldn't be shocked if it's like a little bit more these veteran guys rather than any of the rookies or Trey Harris coming in. So,
yeah.
By the way,
obviously the drops are an issue. I got the Kelsey statistics once we wrap this up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, talking about the Chargers, made me think of a Tyler Conklin. To me, is a really good sneaky tight end. Like he's my like sneaky tight end. Going to finish top 12 this year, and he's like all the way down the board.
Yeah, he's probably being drafted as what? Well, he's probably undrafted largely, or tight end. I'm going to guess 20.
37, 262. Wow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Disley named 37 tight ends.
Will Disley is just right behind him. So, I'm just speaking of Will Disley, he became a relevant streamer tight end there for a bit. Like Tyler Conklin, who's actually been one of the better, besides the top tier guys, one of the better receiving tight ends that we don't even talk about the last 4 seasons. So he's going to have a good year, in my opinion. Go ahead, Kelsey, statistics.
It's not really statistics, but, just touching back on that, wide receiver number 9 in 2021, basically he outscored wide receiver 4 in 2020. That's when we were like, oh shit, we need to draft this guy earlier. Wide receiver 12 in 2019, but within 10 points, basically, of wide receiver 5. There was like a huge glut of guys right around there.
Okay.
Allen Robinson outscored him in 2019 by like a half a point.
So this is, you said 18 and 19 for those, or 19-20?
What, the year?
Yeah, you said 2019. What was the other year?
No, sorry. It was 19, 20, 21. So
okay.
Wide receiver 12, 4, and 9 is actually who he outscored. And obviously, like, there wasn't a huge gap in 2019 between wide receiver 12, where he finished, basically.
Yeah.
And wide receiver 5, which was DeAndre Hopkins. It was only about 10 points, so a half a point per game.
Bowers is going as what? Like he's going right before wide receiver 10.
Okay, yeah. So that's right there, obviously, but he has to. I don't know what my point is. I'm just kind of like, that's why you draft these guys early, I guess, right? Because you're getting them at that position where you're basically beating most people on any given week at that position.
Yeah, you have a 1-up on everybody. But to your point, like, Kelsey's numbers those years were ridiculous, 105 catches, 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
92 catches, 9 touchdowns. So 1,100 plus yards. So, yeah, you have to be.
Do the Raiders as a whole score 11 touchdowns this year?
I actually think they might be sneaky good this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think there might be a slight improvement.
I think there's going to be a significant. You got Geno Smith.
I'm going to clip this and send it to Melissa.
You have Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers, Bowers, Besh, Tucker, Genty in the backfield now. Pete Carroll is. I think the Raiders are going to be, unfortunately, much improved. So, any other questions, guys? Leave them in. We're going to stay live for about another 10 minutes, and then we'll be done. There was a trade that I wanted to talk about that was put in our Discord. Okay, this one was interesting. I spelled Herbert wrong. Hebert, Justin Hebert, Jalen Waddle, a 26 first, a 26 third for Drake May, Marvin Harrison. I think he also said, this is from our friend James Benjamin, I think he also said that he was kind of in a rebuild mode. I'm just going to pull that up. But anyways, what's your guys' initial thoughts on that trade, and what side would you want? It's a 12 team. I don't know how many starters. I think no, I don't know how many starters. Never mind.
I mean, I think the quarterbacks are kind of equivalent in value, depending on what you feel as far as like, do you want to go with Drake May and no receiving core, basically, with the rushing upside and the age is on his side, versus Herbert. We know he's going to be in the league for a long time, and I know he's kind of been the guy that we keep saying he'll be good, and like he's not as like he started off way hotter than he's finished the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's just a solid ass dude with good a decent production profile. So I kind of look at them kind of similarly. Just
right.
kind of
just to expand on that, or just to talk about that. So you think they're equal in value right now, or and what do you think
in my mind?
What do you think they're going to be February 2026? Still equal in value, or one's higher than the other?
I think they'll. Well, I don't know. It really depends. Like I think May has the potential. Well, I don't even know where he's like being valued at. Like I know he kind of went up the boards quite a bit. I feel like he's 8th or 9th or something like that now, and Herbert's probably pushed down a little bit. So I can see them being relatively equal. Like I think if Herbert if the team allows him, I guess, which I don't know how likely that is, but like I think he could have another showing like he did a few years ago. Well, I guess in his rookie, or really his second year, I think it was. And people will be largely back in on him.
I would be shocked if he had what he had in 2020. Like, I just don't think this team. He threw the ball 670 times that year, 700 times in 20. They are not letting Herbert throw the ball 670 times. Like, I would be absolutely shocked if he threw. I put Herbert kind of right around what he did last year. Like, he could have a positive, a touchdown, 28. Like, he could have 5-6 more touchdowns. I would be shocked if he's much more than like low 4,000s in the yards. And I would, I don't think he gets near 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns passing. Like, I just don't think that's what they want to do.
Yeah. Likely not, but I kind of wonder, obviously there was a big change in the offensive philosophy last year, relatively quickly too. And I wonder how much that was related to, like, the run game wasn't as productive as they wanted. Obviously they had injuries in the running back room, which kind of contributed to that, but I don't know. Maybe there was a little bit of a, like, sorry. Maybe there was a little bit of both, I guess. Maybe like, okay, well, he's our best player, so let's leave it up to him a little bit more, not necessarily thinking they're going to do what they started doing.
So the change in philosophy came week 6. So the first 4 weeks, he was averaging like 20, 25 or less pass attempts per game. From that point on is when they started to throw the ball, right? Even if you just take it from that point on, take it over 17 games, he would be still fall 130 pass attempts less than what he did in 2021 and 160 less than what he did in 2022. So, like, even that change in philosophy is nowhere near the rate. They were just throwing the ball at a ridiculous amount last year, or 2021 and 22 with
I do remember that being a thing where it's like, because he was like he almost hit 700, right, or something.
Yeah,
like
699 in 2022.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah, it is. And so even if they do last year, from that point on, week 4 or 5, I don't think they get to that point.
If Quentin Johnston could catch the ball. No.
I mean, he could run the ball a little bit more. He could have he could have a very efficient touchdown season, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be. I think May is going to be way ahead of Herbert at this point. Like, unfortunately, as a Herbert fan, I think he's overrated for fantasy. I think he's more of like his best is probably a low end QB1 and per game I'm looking at, and so like he just kind of falls. But we kind of have a positive view of him because it's like it's Herbert. He's a good quarterback, Of course, he's a good quarterback. He broke out his rookie year. Breaking out, I'm learning more and more. Like breaking out your rookie year does so much to like maintain your value.
Sure.
Right? Like look at Stroud versus Bryce Young. That's why Kyron Williams is not as highly ranked. And one of the reasons, at least, I think, is because he didn't break out year one. Like, it just matters so much to people. I think so.
Yeah, you got to reclaim that hill. You got to reclaim that hill after you burn guys.
Yeah.
And you got to really do it too.
Yeah.
Josh Allen style,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like Jared Goff's been like kind of significantly better than Herbert. Actually, I thought Goff was better in 2023. I mean, last year he was, but not in 2023.
Yeah. So again, I think it's kind of a win now. Like I think I'd rather have side A if my team's a little more competitive, was kind of what I was getting at. Like Herbert and May, I think it's a little even value wise. And Waddle, like I would end up, if I was more win now, I would use that first to get another player, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Waddle and the 26 first, you're probably like not paying quite enough. People are pretty down on Waddle for Marvin Harrison, who probably didn't slip too far. I mean, I know he slipped out of people's graces, but I think he's still is he still a top 5 wide receiver in dynasty value? I would think so.
Marvin Harrison? No, yeah. I don't think so.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's like, he's not even. He's like 10th or something, barely in the top 10.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. He's still. Wait, what did I say?
5th.
Oh no, I'm saying that's where he kind of was, and like I know he's like slid down since then, but like,
okay.
I was saying he's still a top 12 guy, like in people's eyes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying he's still like 5th.
No.
He did say, and this was, and I said this was Benjamin, but it wasn't. It was John, Garlic Bread John. He did say he was a rebuilder. So, Dad, do you have a preference here? Herbert, Waddle, 26 first, 26 third for Drake May and Marvin Harrison?
I might go side B.
More upside?
Yeah, I think so. A couple of young up and comers, I would hope, and the 26 first. Obviously, you don't know what it's going to be. It could be first round 12th pick, or 6th pick, or 4th pick, or 3rd, or.
That's where it could get a little dangerous too, right? If it's your picks and you're a rebuilder, then it's like, are you giving up a top 4 or 5 pick?
Yeah.
But I think I would, depending on if that's the case, then I like side A even for a rebuilder kind of thing.
Yeah, but I would take B. I just think the ceiling's higher. I think it's very, very likely that like Herbert and a first for May is an equal trade, and Waddle and a 3rd for Marvin Harrison's a steal for the Marvin Harrison side. And that's kind of, I just think the ceiling's higher. But yeah, it's a good point about the rebuilding if you're trading your own first, and it's going to be top 5, because that definitely makes, I think it's a pretty even trade, even without knowing. like right now where we stand on June 7th, 2025. I think it's pretty even trade, but I think this could be like pretty lopsided. It's either going to be still relatively even, or in the favor, or slightly in the favor of like the Herbert Waddle side, or it's going to be like lopsided May Harrison. So I'm just kind of taking that chance.
Even if you are like, rebuilding it, I mean, May could outscore Herbert like relatively easily because the rushing, and Marvin Harrison could outscore Waddle this year. It's like, I don't think we're necessarily putting money on that second part, but I mean, I don't know. Waddle's been pretty disappointing, so
yeah, absolutely.
Even though I love him.
But we got to take off because I got to take off. So appreciate everyone that stopped in and asked questions. And we're going to start transitioning a little bit more into redraft. Like most of today was, or a good portion of today we were talking about. Still talking about Dynasty, of course. And Dynasty questions will always be welcomed. But appreciate everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoy your is it first weekend? Your first weekend of June. And we'll see you guys in the next stream.